Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to the session that we do host every week just to bring you the tips and tricks on how to pass the GMAT exam. I'm your host for today, again, Joshua Owoya, a trainer, the Kenya Elite Program for GMAT section. So today we're going to look at you don't have to kill yourself studying the GMAT. Okay, literally, of course, you want to kill yourself, but yeah, it doesn't need to be a tall order. So what we'll be looking at. If you didn't watch my previous video, you could go back and look at why studying the GMAT can be so frustrating. This is just like to help you figure it out from there. So just the previous video, we touched on how you can walk over everything and just what normally happens that makes studying the GMAT exam be so frustrating. So just to help you, if you're preparing, to be able to know the pitfalls that may come your way, and just in case you are in the process, also probably you could find something that you could relate to. And then here's how can you address them. So if you haven't watched them, please watch them and think about. You can just go to the playlist a few videos back. My last video, you will see the why studying the gym can be so frustrating. So this one, study the gym without killing yourself. That's what you'll be looking. So let's dive right in. So first and foremost, what do I mean by this? What do I mean by all this? Of course, you won't kill yourself. That much you know. So that's metaphorical. It's just a metaphorical. It doesn't need to be such a daunting task. Doesn't need to be such like you need to study like all the time. Not really. Because that's what I mean by that. Like, is it 24/7? Is it like how much time should you dedicate? Should you like study like a whole day or how many hours or like 3 months straight? How many? All that stuff. That's what you'd like to look at. It can be really, really also something so manageable in the midst of all the schedules that you do. That's what I mean. How can you be able to do it in a way that you can still fit into everything that you also do and you also attend to others? See, you just need to set aside some time for some period of time and then you just reap off the benefits of compounding and also time spent or something. Of course, in the plant that seed today doesn't grow overnight, but because it is growing continuously and every and habitually give it some, you put some water and the nutrients it collects from the soil, it will grow over time and for it to be like either a big tree or a herb or whatever it's meant to be. The same thing. You just need to keep something consistently for a short period of time. See, that's what I mean. That's what I mean by this. So let's now look at the next thing. What should you know? What should you know to make studying the GMAT exam to be less daunting? Yeah. What should you know? So first and foremost, you should know at least 70% of all the concepts and rules in all the topics. I mean 70%. In fact, that's quite conservative. You should actually know 100%. But if you know like 70%, that should be enough to help you like fare on well and probably get like the median score of the GMAT exam, which is normally about the 550 score. I think with the focus edition should be 545. That's the about. That's why it should be 555 to 560. It should be that range. If actually you get to know all the concepts and the rules of all the topics being tested in the GMAT exam. So have your list of topics. From that list of topics, have the subtopics or the items in each topic you should know. In our training, we call them the learning objective statements, the LOS. Quite famous. It's like the Bible you need to use in your studies as you prepare. So know almost all the concepts being tested in all the topics. If it is the quant section, know all the concepts on each topic from number theory to algebra to speed, distance, and time, to ratios and proportions, to counting methods, and also everything else. If it is verbal, critical reasoning, the type of questions are the parts of a stimulus and critical reasoning, and also how do you approach the different types of questions and identify each of them. Know all those rules that you have to apply to that. Know all of them. Reason being, you don't know which one you'll be asked about. The moment you know that, then now you can know how they can be applied. The next thing, okay, the concepts is one thing. The other thing that also that you test on the GMAT exam is basically you do answer questions. So each question that will be presented to you can be responded to in less than 2 minutes. Or let me say probably 1.5 minutes. That's a possibility. So, which means any question you see should be solved in a short time. If you are spending a long time answering a question, chances are you're not getting the right answer, most likely. And if you went all that way and still got it right, most likely you may want to review your approach because there should be a better way of doing that. So know that for every question type, the GMAT exam has like only a myriad of questions they can ask. And they really actually have patterns which they reward you towards pattern recognition. If you can recognize the pattern that are being used in the question types tested, also get to know the fastest approach to them, oh, then you are on your way. So just know the fastest approach to answer each question type. If it's an assumption question, how do you go about it in the verbal exam? If it is also a data sufficiency question in the data insights, how do you go about it? See, get to know the question types and how to approach them, then you're good. Then also, as you work on the practice questions, you need to know the types of questions that you're having a challenge getting correct. Yeah, you need to know that which questions am I getting wrong? Yeah, which questions are you having a challenge getting correct? That's something you need to know. If it's the critical reasoning question talking about, like assumption question, I don't how to answer assumption questions. Then you should actually get to know, put those questions aside. Get a collection for them. We call it error log. Yeah, put them aside and be looking at them from time to time. Even though you've seen the correct answer and why yours was wrong, how sure you'll remember that question again tomorrow, or 2 days later, or 3 days later, or 4 days later? Unless you keep it aside and again come back and look at it, you won't know. So you need to get those questions, put them aside, and know why you didn't get them correct. Yeah. And also you should know, is it about the approach or is a concept? Maybe you get your question wrong because you don't even remember the formula. That's a concept thing. Or the rules that apply. You forgot that zero is not also part of the test, let's say in the guess questions. Yeah. For any number, for the numbers between for number between either positive or negative, this and that, then also you did not assume zero to be part of that. Or which numbers are divisible by this. You count all the numbers and they ignore zero. So that's something else. Maybe that you need to go back and look into that. Maybe approach was the wrong one. Yeah. If it's the formula for doing something, then okay, you missed out something out of it. Let's just say the Pythagoras theorem, the a squared plus, of course, the geometry was scrapped off, but just for an example, uh, if actually have the sum of the two sides, the base of the height, the two squares, if you sum them, you should get also the square of the hypotenuse. But now let's say you do not square each of them and you're still getting an answer, which probably is in multiple choices. And maybe you missed out on the formula. That's a formula thing. You need to go back and review that. Yeah. Put them aside, study them, and know what they are. Once you've done that, the third thing you need to know your strengths and weaknesses. You need to know what are you strong at, what are you weak at, what are you good at, what is a challenge to you. That means once you know that, then actually you can be able to see what do you need to put more time in, what can you put less time on, what can you use to be able to help you get the score that you want to get. If you know that you're a quant person, like me, or a quant person, I'm a quant person, verbal will be a challenge to me. So with that one, I will know how many day given any quant question. That's something for me to go around and keep in the bank. But the verbal, yeah, we can see how we can manage that. Yeah, we can find it. Let's put gloves on. Then now that's not what it is. That's not you know what it is. And now you know what you're working with.
You're watching Success with Bob Mwiti Show, presented to you by Upstech America. Upstech America is a consulting company that helps immigrants find amazing higher education and job opportunities in the tech industry in the United States. You can find our programs by going to www.upstechamerica.com. Upstech America, we wake you up to the unlimited potential.
So what should you do with that knowledge? Concepts. How are they applied to the question types? Each concept. That's something you should know about the concepts. For any concept you see, they won't ask you about the concept directly. If they ask you about the concept directly, then that's an easy question. Yeah, it's an easy question. 1 + 1 is 2. We all know 1 + 1 is 2, as in not beyond that. I'm going to start squaring actually, which is addition multiple times. That's something else. So the concepts, how do the concepts apply to various question types? Yes, that's something which you need to know how they apply. Once you know that, there was the symptom, the approaches. Why is approaches important? It helps with time management. The time you spend on each question can actually change depending on how much time you spend. See? So that's something you need to know. Something you need to know. Yeah. So you need to know the amount of time spent. Yeah. The concepts you need to know. How are they important? Okay. How are they applied to each question types? Then the approaches help you improve the time spent on each question. How long are you spending on each question? So if you have the fastest approaches and the best approaches, you spend the least amount of time on each question. And also doesn't wear down a brain because remember you're using your brain power in the exam. So the more questions you do, the more you feel tired, not because you've worked physically, but you worked mentally. It wears someone down, you fatigue. But when you have the best approaches, also you save more of that mental energy and you're able to do more with higher accuracy. That's why you need to know the approaches. That's what you do with it. Then the challenging questions that you do have. Now, the error log, the questions you're having difficulty responding to and getting the correct answer. You will most likely go through plateaus. Plateaus are you've been getting some score until some point, but you can't overcome certain score. Why? Because there could be certain type of questions which are a challenge to you and you have to crack them out. And each time it shows up, catches you. So when you keep aside those questions before that time comes in an exam or in actually a mock scenario, you can easily know and actually you can easily be rising up and up the ranks. This is your ladder up the good scores. So that's what the challenging questions are for. Your strengths and weaknesses will help you get a good score. If you're not a quant person, you're good at quant, which verbal is a challenge. And now you know that I need to score as high as possible in the quant to compensate for what I'm going to get in the verbal. There are some topics which are also inherently difficult, and thus you just say, okay, I won't spend my time figuring out how to go about combination probability. I just need to know the basics. Beyond that, I don't. But I'll make sure that when it comes to number theory and algebra, I know everything about them. Just in case I get a question on that, I don't miss out. If I get a question on actually probability, I can just guess without even spending a minute on it. But I know that it helps you get a strategy and you can resonate. Yeah, that's it. So next, how long should you study? That's the last thing. How long should you study? Now, the different things, okay, when it comes to GMAT exam, there's the personal study, there is also the assessment of what you studied about. There is also the practice questions, and then there are the marks before you the exam. Personal studies when I study the concepts and actually get to know get to know what is being tested, to remind yourself of what's being tested. So these are I recommend like at least 2 hours a day or as long as the exam period lasts. If the exam period lasts like 3 hours, you should study for 3 hours. If it lasts for 2 hours, you should study for 2 hours per day. 2 hours a day for about 5 or 6 days in a week, most likely 6 days in a week. Let's take a day off. Yeah. So with that one, at least if you can spare 2 hours a day and give it your best for 6 days in a week, the rest of the days you can do everything else. That's time available. You find yourself out over time, yes, you're becoming better and better at that. Then also need to assess your concepts knowledge. You know multiple times. Yeah, probably a few days later, and or even every few days. Let's say you started off, so today studied double properties. Tomorrow you can quiz yourself on that. Then also again as studies on let's say algebra. The following day quiz yourself on algebra, then the following day quiz yourself on critical critical reasoning. But instead you quiz yourself on what you studied on one day or 2 days ago. That is none of a theory that you quiz yourself on also algebra. And you get to know how much do you remember, how much do you keep aside, how much don't you remember. So that helps you to be able to be up to speed with your not with the brain on how much it's retaining and how much it's not retaining, and take interventions early. That's that. On the concept assessment, to do that like that one we just talked about. So we talk about the error log. The error log is a collection of questions you've been getting wrong, and you're trying to figure out why you Why? Okay, how can you get them correct the next time you see them? There's only need to find out. Keep it aside and come back later. If, of course, you look at it today, if you come back and look at the question again a few hours later, you get it correct. But how about tomorrow? If the question shows up tomorrow, have you ever been in a situation where you say a question like, I answered that question yesterday and I got it wrong? This is the second time I'm getting this question wrong. That should show you, yes, you should have kept it somewhere and then look at it. So try it multiple times and then know that from there you'll see if at all it's becoming a challenge. The more you get it correct as time goes by, the more you know actually now also growing in knowledge. And that is also now you're overcoming a plateau. That is it. For the practice questions, I do recommend as you do your questions, organize them in a manner that does match the exam setting. If actually it's a quant practice questions, do all the quant practice questions. The number of quant sections that you do have, okay, of course it's one, but the number of questions that you do talking about, that's what you should have in a practice session. If there are 23, do 23 questions in how long? 45 minutes? In 45 minutes. Do that. If it is verbal and that 22 or 21 in 45 minutes, do the same. The same also for data insights. That's what you should be doing. Look at that and just focus on that in a way that makes the exam. At the same time, also be doing a mocks in the same way. If you put all these together, I believe that you'll have a structure that is working, that can work for you in helping you not kill yourself for studying for the GMAT exam. So that's it, bro. Everybody else, wish you all the best of the study. In case there's something I missed out, please share them in the comments below. In case there is any information also like to also want me to add on to this, share them in the comments below. If you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up and probably click that bell. So next time you have a video, you can get to know. So come back again next week and see more of actually how we can ace this GMAT exam. That's said and done. Thank you and goodbye.